Man, happy Monday. I think once every I think I start doing the second week of the month. We start doing the RSI recap, right? And it's just basically, go through, have a hardcore week where we just slow down the leverage, right? I think everybody, I'm start pushing where everybody starts pushing to the leverage to be more under 30, right? Stay at 10, 20. I think people forget, like, when I first traded, the original education was all based on 10% leverage with KuCoin. You remember that?
Yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah,
So I
yeah,
mean, we made thousands and shit. We made hundreds of thousands using 10x leverage, right?
right.
100x leverage was just basically the beginning of the starting of the academy. That was just basically to take advantage of quick trades, right? But that also takes a shitload of discipline, where you just take profits, right? It wasn't designed to do like sit there holding a trade. It was designed to make 20 to 50% close the trade, and then you have to. It's like then you have to let the coin reset. You can't jump back in the middle of the coin doing what it's doing. You have to let the coin reset, and then once it resets, then you go back into another trade, right? So you have to have your A, B, and C's, right? Like what trade is happening, why should I enter, and then once you enter, you either ride it till its end, or you take profits and then you go find another trade like it, or like what I've been doing with YGG, I'm just allowing it to reset, and then every time it resets, then I go back into another trade. But that's kind of like
Right.
what guys don't have the discipline is because they want to keep going at that current moment, and it just doesn't work like that, right? Because once the trade happens, it only has so much movement. So, and then that's why I'm dividing up the trades, right? We have position trades, day trading, and then scalp trading. So right now, the new system will be all about position trades and day trading because they go together. Very simple to use and get in and out of, but they're also, they're only 20 to 30x leverage. And then inside those trades, you'll learn a lot more about volume, what's happening. And I just teach you to be a lot more patient because the trade overall is more patient. So it allows you to kind of like um, focus on what you're doing. So that way, you're getting more out of your trade. So, but I
Yeah,
think overall, we should always have the second week of every month, or maybe even every 2 weeks, second and fourth week, where we come in and basically just slow all leverage down 30 and below, right? Because I think a lot of times the problem is guys get too aggressive, and if they don't, scalping is a disciplined sport. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's meant to be in and out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, well, you have to start
Yeah,
banging. The whole. This is the goal, right? Like this. This is what I'm trying to say. So the goal is, if you have $1,000 bag, right, and you're doing $1,000 trades, right, where you work your way into a trade, you only need 20% to make your 200, right?
right.
If you
Yeah,
make 10 of
yeah,
those trades a week, you're making 100 grand.
that's it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can look
So,
at it that way.
yeah. So at the
Yeah,
end of the day, it's not you're not pushing anything beyond that, right? So
yeah, that's good. That's
yeah,
comfortable to do that.
yeah, yeah. That's the that's the whole point. Like the indicators in the system is designed to do that every day, all the day. The problem is that guys, they start, going through a different mentality of, 600%, 800% per trade. But those are just things that happen for us, right? So if we're making the right trade over and over, 2 out of 10 of those trades will go for 300%, right? Or 100. We don't need, or at
Yeah,
least I'd say 4 out of 10. So if you got 4 out of 10 of these trades breaking 100%, like this trade, right?
yeah,
Look at this trade right here is a simple YGG trade. What is this trade, right? So this trade is where all I'm doing is tracking my 4 hour, my 1 hour, right? So when my 1 hour gets to the top here, you see that? Starts to come
yeah,
down. As soon as I get my negative value, right, I start hunting it, right? It bounces up, so you could have took this trade way up here on this first candle here. You'd be up 400%, right? So once the
right.
1 hour starts headed down, my 2 hours heading down, then I slide into the simplicity of the 15 minute, right? And All I was waiting for here is that just like, what do we have? The normal 15-minute pullback. See that? 15-minute
Yeah.
pullback happens, right? So now you can work it even further where the 15-minute has its move, comes back down, and then you get a 15-minute trend. So the next time the 15-minute comes up, notice that it doesn't break positive volume, and this is where I just enter this trade here. I literally just took that trade here, right? I was behind this trade. Like when I got up, I took a look and was like, oh shit, it's a short. I took this trade here. If I would have been on this trade right, I would have hit it when this 15-minute was coming down in here, the 15-minute red moon, and then I would have held this entire time. I'd be up like 800%. Right. So this is just basics, right? So this is where, you know, understanding the little day trading side, right? This is a nice little day trade where we can jump into a 15-minute red trend, which we have right here after a pump, and now we can hold this out until it, you know, finds its way through, right? And that's kind of where we're at here. So we're going to review this and take the kind of time to go through it, but it's a very simple process. And then what I like to do is I start getting to the point where so like here, okay, so here's the normal pull, right? I'm going to take this and put it at 40, right? It's 178% now. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take profits, right? How do I do that? Is I just hit add, right? And now I'm going to set this up here, and I'm going to say I want 250% profits. I'm going to take at that point 24%, and here I want 2335, and I'm going to take 38% profits, right? I'm going to put that in there. So now when that starts to come across, you know, I'm going to milk out some of these profits on these big drops. And then what I'm doing is, my goal is to kind of get, like, once these big drops hit about 50 to 75% of the movement, and then if it bounces on me, buy back in if everything is still going the way it's supposed to go. Like for instance, if my 1 hour still has room to go, which it does. If my 2 hour has room to go, which it does, right? You see what I'm saying? So now I can run this trade out, but I'm using that same, remember I used to, so it's this, everything is the same technique. It's just different volume sides, right? So day trading right here, this is just a day trade, and I'll do a video on these, on the trades I've been doing, but all it is like, so when we scalp, you remember how I always, I buy at the top of the 3 minute, I sell at the bottom of the 3 minute?
Yeah.
This is the same thing, except I do it on the 15. Right?
Yeah, which
Yeah. So now I'm just buying and selling at the 15-minute RSI. You see how the 15's down here? So now I'm setting up, going, I'm gonna sell off my profits here, and then when the 15 goes up and starts to come back down, I'm rebuying. So I'm just extending the section of profits here. See, that's the difference in, you know, then moving on to where we stay what we want to have in there. So I want to take about here. This goes back up. I'm going to take about 33. Set this to 300. I'm going to confirm. So that's kind of like the extension of like what we have. So this is my first trade of the day. I got up. Haven't even had my juice yet. I just kind of set this up for you guys because I saw it happening. I was a little bit late on my alerts because I literally just rolled out of bed. But I came over, saw it happening. I was like, oh man, easy money. Right? I'm kind of mad because this is supposed to be $1,000 trade. But it didn't. It didn't. It didn't take all. It only took the 20% of that, the first entry, and I didn't get it. Actually, like I walked away for a second because my dog was scratching at the couch, wanted something to eat, and so I was supposed to actually get a full entry here at $1,000. So we'd be up $2,000 right now. So
that's nice.
yeah, so it's just a you know, as you move through here, we're just working over the entries, right? So it's nothing wrong. You know, here, you know, $400, $400. You know what I mean? So that's really where you wanna put yourself. And all I'm doing here is just adding percentages as I take profits, right? And you just you can add in there, right? So these are all set up to continue on the profit side. Now, if I want to make sure there's any other profits I can snag, then I come over here and I go 0.23 and say I want to do 15. And then when that happens, I'm gonna take 25% when it hits that. So now what I'm doing is I'm just slowly closing out my entries.
Yeah, your precision.
Yeah. And then what's going to happen here is eventually I'm going to get to the point where the 15-minute rolls up to the top. Maybe I got 25, 50 bucks still in here. And then if everything looks good, then I'll go ahead and slide back into another continuation of the trade with the 2, the 4. Because this is what's understanding, like when you understand the day trading and the position trading side, you know that you have where, you know what trade's coming up, right? 0, 2, 3, 3, 0. So what I can do is look here and be in the situation of going, okay, what's my position trade, right? So now when you understand that you're trading day trades and position trades, well, the first thing I want to do is look at my daily, right? Because that's my position trade. So position trades mean that if I get a red moon, have my red trends, I'm going to go into a longer 2 or 3 day position where I might have a 7-hour or 10-hour trade. Right here, you can see here that we're about to cross over on the daily, so this might end up being a really good move. Plus, I'm heading towards a red moon, so that's a trade that's coming up for me. Second thing I do is I move to my normal day trade, which is the video I just did for you guys. It's trading with the 4-hour red moon, right? What do you have right there? 4-hour red moon. So the only thing I need here is 4-hour RSIs, which I just had a bend right here. So now the only thing I need to go with my 4-hour is my 2-hour, which is already there. The next thing that I need is I need a 2-hour red trend in this area with negative volume. I already have that. So right in here, I know that this trade is going to continue on, right? So now I got that entire thing happening, right? So now what I have to do is I have to decide like how much, I'm obviously coming back in this once the 15-minute goes out. So that's the point of, position trading and day trading. I know that I'm going to extend this run here. So now what I have to do is decide on how I'm taking it. And if you guys don't know, when you have open orders here, your limit orders are going to be your orders that are basically your normal buys. Right, you see those? So these are your normal buys, right? But when you set take loss and take profit, they're going to be here. So here's my take profit, all my things that I have right there. So they're kind of like simple. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cancel out of those. Go back to my open order, which is I had a buy here. You can see I was going to buy $1,300 worth of the USD in there. I'm going to revoke that. Let me slide over here. Okay, so now let's just go back and set up what we need to do here. So what I want to do here is first thing I want to set my 2-3-3-3, and I want to say if you head back that way, give me another 25%. All right, and now I got the 200 down to 80, and now we're just kind of like siphoning out here. So my main stop loss will be above there, about 23.66. So I'm going to put my main stop loss in here. So 2366. Now that gives me 147%. We're at 180. I'm going to take this here and I'm going to say that I want a total of 300%. Actually, we're already at 2. I'm going to go for the double up there. And now that's my main stop loss. Okay, now I need to siphon some profits off here, which I'm going to slide in here with 23.39. I'm going to take here 2.339, and I'm going to say if it goes back there, I want to take about 35%, and I want, if it goes to 350%, I want to take about 28%. And sometimes while you're moving these are pouncing here, so let's bounce this up to 41. There we go. Okay, so now I got that set up where I got some profit taking modes in there. And then as it's moving up, I just want to kind of siphon some profits here. So let's go to 38. Let's see if we can get one more 38 in there. That's pretty much it. So now I'm going to, take this down to where we work this down to our lower price. I want to get about 25 in here, and then we'll go back into the rebuying on the 15-minute. It hit 38, but it didn't wick enough. So we'll let that do what it's doing, and then we'll come. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So I got my 38. So now all those positions are closed. I can go look at my open orders here. You can see I got my basic positions here where we have a couple closes at 23.38, 23.33. It only did a little bit of the 38, and then stop loss we're already set. So we're pretty much set where we want to be here, and then we'll come back into the buy zones here. Yeah. So for me, I'm gonna be rebuying here when we get into the 15 minute. So for me, I just go back to my 15 minute. I know that the trend, all the trades that I'm looking for are gonna start manifesting, right? So now all I need to do is go to my 15 minute, set my alert on my RSI, once per bar, create it, and that's pretty much it. Alright, so let's take a look. So we'll let that ride there. Alright, so now we can take a look at some reviews here.
Yeah, I did retail trades.
Yeah. So let's take a quick peek here. So which one? So start off, always stay inside the position trade and the long and the day trade, right? And then we'll be able to move through there. So as far as everybody here, it's been pretty decent when when you're in here. All right. Mina short Monday. Gala. Mina's pretty good. Not bad on Mina. 50x, that's great. API. Alright. So let's take a look at this one here. What is this? Ocean. Alright. So when you put the date, is this October 2nd? Yeah, that's October 2nd, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. So October 2nd. See when you is this when you entered right here?
Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay, so
a few days ago,
yeah. So remember when you guys just post your entry, you don't have to put all that. Just put ocean short and just boom, right? And in the price, ocean short 0.3319, right? Because what this will do is because a lot of times when you're putting the day and time, we're on different times. Right. So then, so I could go here. I can see that this is 1:37 p.m. for me. So let's say 1:37 p.m. So let's take a look at Ocean, right? So let's slide into Ocean. Oh, look at this beautiful trade. This is House Money was looking at this the other day. I hope he got this. Disgusting. All right, so he pull up Trading View.
My biggest problem, I think, at the moment, VC is every time I move the stop loss up to my entry point, it seems to be just wicking me out all the time.
So it's just right. So it's always going to be entries. All right. So I would say to you, right? What leverage are you using?
I was using the 50x.
Okay. So let's start. Let's bring that down to. Let's move that down to 30.
Okay.
That's going to give you a little more space, and then while we're working on entries, it'll tighten up, right? Because you should be looking for trades that are actually going to give a lot more than that anyway, so you should be fine there. All right, so let's take a look at Ocean. Babe, that don't sound like the dishwasher, babe. She just hates technology. I mean, it's like she will not use a dishwasher. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, so now I take a look here. I can see that this is posted at 137, right? So 137 on the second. I'm looking for 33.19. So 137 on the second, right? So let me see if I can get my 3 minute back there. Alright, so let's see. So you would be right here. This looks pretty good. So 133. So this is you right here on the second. So put that there. Turn that green. Okay. So we'll open this up a little bit more here. Alright, so 133 is actually right here. Yeah. So if you got in this, let me see how this moved here. Now this thing had a huge ass move, man. Alright, so if you post, so when you post this, right?
Yeah.
You know, so you're 137. Let's get in there. So if you just, after you enter, so it should have been about 136 you should have been entered. So after you enter and do all your things, then you come just post what your entry was. So 136. Yeah, you're right there, man. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Yeah.
So I see, I mean, because you got 12% there. You're doing a 50x. So walk me through, like, what,
Right, so I entered into the trade straight away. It was going down, right? So I moved my stop loss to my entry point, and then I got wicked. You know, it's happened to me a good few times. I think even though I'm doing okay, I'm getting into the trade too early. That's what I think.
what do you,
Because it seems sometimes it goes against me. Like,
33.19. 33.19. So let's find your entry. 33.19. All right. Because that's what you, so you have here. So the price 33.19.
yeah, correct. Yeah.
That would be up there, bro. Is that right?
What's that?
Was that right, or was it 32.19?
No, 23. I can go back on the. Let's see.
Yeah, because you got the second at price
Yeah, that's the. Yeah.
30,
23.19. Yeah.
33.19. Jesus, brother. That puts you way back here, bro.
Yeah, 23.19. Yeah, 23.19.
Yeah, you do. That puts you way back here. Because that's the price 33.19 right here.
Right.
Okay, so let's take a look at that anyway. So 33.19. That would be. I mean, it's still the second, but yeah, that's like in the AM. But that's the point right there. So maybe let me take a look here. So 10 to 23, 9:34 a.m. I'm gonna assume 9:34 a.m. I wonder 9:34 a.m. What time is it over there right now for you?
It's 16:37.
So you are 5 hours. Yeah, you're 5. So 1637. I'm 1037 right now. So you are. Yeah, you're about. Let me see what
That's
the.
6 hours.
Yeah, let me see what the. Let me open another. Yeah. So right now I'm 1037, and you're 1637.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah,
8 hours
correct,
difference. So that would be 1 a.m. my time,
right.
which makes more sense because that's about right. Yeah, so you'd be in here somewhere. So that makes about sense. So you probably got in around here. This is the 1 a.m. mark right here.
Yeah.
So this is the section that you got in on. Right here.
Yeah, I remember I missed the fucking thing at the start, and then I just got in on it. Because I checked all the order size on.
And then it came down and then it hit your stop loss.
Correct. Yeah, minute I moved it up to the entry and I took it, says no, I'm not hitting it just on the stop loss. So I said, fuck it, I'll move it up and take something out. So that's what I did, and then I hit it.
So this right here is
Yeah,
your
that's
this is your section right here. So let me just
yeah.
I'll make this a little more. So you got in somewhere on this candle here, which is only about a 0.27 move, which would be about 18%, which is what you ended up with, right?
Yeah, I think it went, that's right. It went up to about 18, and I moved the stop loss. And as I was moving it, the thing was going against me, and I says, ah, fuck it. I'll take 10, 12%, whatever, you know.
Right. Okay. There we go. Alright, so we can see right here, you got your entry in. This is where you were in that little short zone. Okay. So now let's take a look at the overall. So now we have that 3 minute section. So the thing is, right, and I want you to kind of look here, is like you have a red moon, right? You have your red trend, right? You took the entry here, you're a little bit behind on it, right?
Right.
It came down, you got your 18%. Did you stay with this? Or did you
Yeah,
just
I stayed, and then I got whipped. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but so when you find a trade, sometimes you're gonna get one or two shots at the entry, and then you're gonna have your section where you find, so normally if you find a trade that you like, right, you'll be in a situation where you try your first entry, you made 18%, so that wasn't bad. So did you say, okay, I'm gonna let the 3 minute play out, right? Because right there you got a 3 minute green moon. So did you say, okay, I'm going to let the 3 minute red moon come back and let the RSI reset? Right?
No, didn't.
Okay. So once you find a trade, right, and everything's working in your way, we don't know yet because we haven't looked at the whole thing yet, right? So what we need to do here is once you find a trade, you can stay with it, because once you understand all the things that you want to do, like your position trade, your day trade, right? These trades are all in your head, like what these trades are going to do, what are they going to develop into. Give me 1 second here. Connect. 55-inch pin. All right. So what I mean is once you find a trade that's happening, right? Because it's kind of like finding a trade in a zone that works for you, and then staying with your trade, right? Because you're not gonna have the perfect entries. This is why I think, even if you were to bring down 30% on this, you still would have got wicked out, right? But by staying the course, right, knowing that this trade is developing into something. Now we don't know that on the overall yet. But that's kind of like the focus is once you find a position trade or a day trade, you want to beat yourself into it, sometimes you're going to get a little bit, you don't want to miss it. So you did okay getting in here there, and it just wicked you out, right? And you survived it. You made 18%. You could have broke even there. But then you say, okay, go ahead and bounce, do what you're going to do. I'm going to come right back, right? And then you walk this trade down until it gives you what you thought it was going to do, right? Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to basically go like this, right? Anytime you're looking at a coin, very important, is when they have the 3 minute. If you see these small little moves, what I like to do is on a 3 minute candle, right? The average, the little ones, I like to go to the bottom of the 3 minute candle and measure the top of it, right? And what I'm looking for is the percent of money, right? So this is 0.15. So if I'm doing 100x on a 3 minute candle, I can get 15%. If I'm doing 50, I can get 7, right? So what I want to know here is if this coin's even worth trading, right? So then I take a peek, and what I want to see is like worst case, moves, right? So like this move here, you see this move here? I want to go take a look at that move and say, okay, if I was trading this at a higher level, would I make money, right? It's about 33%. Not bad, right? Not bad. And so what I'm looking for is basically if this trade is going to be something worth making money, right? So then I go here, it's about 4.2. I like to see the 1%ers, you know what I mean? I like to see where I can see trades that are doing 1% and above, because that kind of lets me know what's happening. This one right here, like you see this is an example here. See how much this has to move here? Ocean has to go up from here to here. Like that entire move there was 2%, right? You guys see that? Hold on, I think you're on my TV now. Right, you see what I'm saying, Horse?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So now I'm deciding here, like, if these moves can make me money. You see what I'm saying? So that's really kind of what I'm looking at. So I want to see, like, when I see a good pullback, right? I would go back here and I'd be looking for like these pullbacks that happen in here. And what I'm looking for is basically when I see these pullbacks, are they worth money, right? So this pullback right here, if I would have got it, it's about 1%. That's not bad. This pullback here, if I would have got it, 1%. So I'm already kind of sizing up my coin, deciding, if this is a good opportunity for the pullbacks. And then I see the last time they did a really big pullback, and then I take a look at the big pullback and I say, okay, it could do a 6%er, right? But the biggest thing for me is when it does a little move, right? Because I don't want to, you're not going to catch, I want to know if it does this little move here, can I get paid, right? And normally on a little move like this, I love to see at least a 4%, right? So right here we have a 2%. So that's the minimum, right? The minimum that I would look at and say, okay, on a 3 minute candle, I can see this doing a minimal move and giving me 2%, right? Because remember, we're always shooting for half of that, right?
Yeah, correct.
So if we're doing a 30x and we get a 1% move, then we hit our target, right? So that's the first thing when you guys look at coins, make sure they're profitable, right? Make sure they're profitable before you even like spend time with it. So this coin basically is right at the cusp right there, right? So now let's move over and take a peek at like how you were. So you picked, you're right there where you need to be. You just kind of got into a section where you didn't follow through on what you knew. You know what I mean? So I'm going to open this up a little bit more here. And now let's go take a look at the overall, because I don't know if like, where you were as far as like how good of a trade this was. But what we can do here is kind of like look at the overall. So that's what that's for. Okay, so overall here, I'm going to go ahead and walk this through because the 3 minute we won't be able to come back to once we're through. But I want to show you like how this kind of worked out for you, right? So you took your first trade and it looked good, right? Red moon, red trend, you took it. You were a little bit late on it, which is okay, because if it's set up correctly on the bigger time frames, it's worth taking that moment, right? Now it bounces on you here, the RSI. I was already at the bottom right there, right? So a lot of times it's a tough decision, right? Because sometimes you'll see these coins move and then they'll just dump, right? So a lot of times guys are like, well, I want to be in here just in case it dumps. That's kind of what just happened to me to YGG. I only put 20% in, even though I wanted to put 1,000, and then it dumped for 300%. You see what I'm saying? Because I was late. I was late to the entry, right? So I knew it was going to bounce and give me some type of space, but normally I would have had 1,000 in there, and we would have ran that off for 200%. We made $2,000 in that day trade right there, real quick. But because it was already pushing to the bottom, I only put 20% because I was going to wait for the 3-minute reset, which didn't. It just plummeted. So I'm not discouraged here when you make a trade in here and you get yourself going, and it kind of bounces up. So there you put yourself in. You got stop loss out, which is what you're supposed to do. You made 18%, which is great. There at that moment you have to track this trade, which is you continue on, and as you move forward, the one thing that you want is the 30-minute RSI to get to the top and then start to come back down. Now during this time you catch a green moon. You see the green moon?
Yes.
So you would sit here and go, okay, I'm going to wait for the next red moon, red trend. Comes along, here you go again. Red moon, red trend, your RSI is at the bottom again, right? So what do? Here, I would take like a position, like I said again, I would put, 50% of my bag here, right? And then I would let it ride through, and this is a 30x leverage, right? We'd be playing 30x leverage. And I want to show you, like, from the bottom of this to the top of this is about 57, right? Which means that this would be a 15% stop loss situation if you were in there. Now the thing is you're buying into this motion, right? So you'd have 50% of your bag somewhere in here. It starts to go up on your RSI. A lot of guys here, they like to get at least 20-30% in. A lot of times for me, I'm the same way. I put 20-30% in there. A lot of times I put 50 because I feel like the dump is coming and I don't want to miss it, right? So I'll put 50% up here, 20, 30, or 40, or 50 in here. But I know that once the 3-minute RSI bounces and gets to the top, I'm buying the other 50% of my bag here. See what I'm saying? So then my average price would be here somewhere about 33.24, right? That's kind of like the move. But that's only if, right? That's only if the rest of this looked right? Because I haven't got there yet, so I don't know. So what I'm saying to you is, like, if you did everything right and it's the trade, like everything is supposed to be the way it's supposed to be, right? Then that's what I would do, because I believe in I believe in the system, right? So as long as everything else lines up as far as we can see, then that's how I would play this. I would play 50% in here, or at least 20%, which is what I did with YGG. 20% in, right? Let it bounce as it comes up. This is where I would put the rest of it. I would start buying in here. As soon as the 3-minute gets to the top, starts to head down, I would put my other bag, and my entry would be right in here somewhere, 33.25. Do you understand?
Yeah, that's providing the 15 to 14 or.
Yeah, that's providing. Yeah. We haven't even looked at the trigger, right? So a trigger is the trade, right? So here's how it works, right? First thing you need is a trigger, right? What says that this is a trade, right? So we know when we day trade, right, or position trade, we know that we're looking for a daily red moon, right? With a daily red moon, we're looking for a daily red moons normally run into red trends. So a daily red trend would trigger a trade. The trade is a 4-hour and a 2-hour RSI coming down together. That would trigger a position trade, right? The entry would be a checklist of the 1 hour, 30, and 15-minute RSI heading in the right direction, entering on when it went to a red moon, I would put in the rest of my trade, so I would be in somewhere around this level here. See what I'm saying? Now, if you play it that way, you would have got in this trade here, and you lock in a very simple trade, and this trade goes from this point. Here's your full lock-in right here. So you would be, I'm gonna make this orange. So that would be your trade from here down, right? So you'd be closing this trade eventually on a some type of whim. So I'm gonna actually move this into a box. All right, so this would be your your trade over here, and I'm going to turn this orange. So that would have been your trade right there. So that overall trade that you were on, right? Look at this would have bring you a solid 7%. You see that? So if you stay with that trade, doing a 30x, right? You're looking at 250% to 300% gains. And this trade took from October 2nd to October 2nd. So what did we get in at 3 a.m.? We closed out at 5, right? So 14 hours, right? So now that we have this kind of like overall in there, because we're not going to be able to come back to the 3 minute. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to open this up and make this bigger so that I can find it. And then I'm going to piece the plus sign in there. Okay. So now let's go to the triggers of it, right? So let's back up to the 15 minute. And we can see here the 15 minute. Let's pull in the RSIs. So the whole thing is basically this. You want the 15-minute RSI in your favor, right? So we can see here. Notice here, when you went to make the trade here, the 15-minute RSI was at the bottom there, right? Not against you, okay? It's not against you here because it's not going up yet, but, you know, it's kind of at the bottom. So that's the first point. Where the trade would have happened is when the 15-minute got to the top. You see here, and it broke down. Notice how that's your entry. See that? So the 15-minute would have actually been right here. This would be your entry right here. See how that worked?
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing right there. Okay, so that's literally where it's at. Let's see here. Post your entry and 10 trade review. Yo, Sean, post your entry in the 10 trade review, bro, and we'll take a look at it right now in a minute. All right, so you see how the 15-minute comes up and then it crosses down? That would have been your main entry right there. Same one we walked through with the 3-minute, right? So now we know that the 15 wasn't against you, but it was already at the bottom, right? Now, what I want you to show here, because I'm going to make a video on this a little bit later, but this is part of the day trading, right? So you see the 15-minute red trend behind us? Yeah. So that's going to be the next video I make is going to be about the 15-minute red trend, trading the day trades on the 15-minute red trend, as long as everything else is in your trigger, right? So you can see here, your entry would have been here. You would have played this all the way through, right? A little bit different in the sides, but here's your 15-minute trend. The thing is, you would let the 15-minute RSI play to the top, and then you would get your entry. So the video you're going to see later is actually going to kind of cover what you see here. 15-minute red trend triggers. You let the 15-minute run to the top and break down. Here's your entry, and you play that entire trade until the 15-minute red trend changes, which would have been down here, you see? So that trade right there, that'll be a day trade, right? And this day trade is basically set up to do, around 7%. So that's kind of like the trade you were in, but you'll see that video later on there, okay? But I just wanted to touch base so you have an ideal of a trigger or something that will allow you to basically say, okay, I'm right here, right? Okay, so 15-minute is not against you right here, but it is at the bottom. So let's move to the 30-minute, right? Because this is the checklist, right? Can't make a trade unless the checklist is right. Now, if you notice right here, you see how the 30-minute is against you right there? Now, you see it's on the bottom. Now, it might have been against you when this happened, or it could have been on the bottom, right? Right? So you might have seen it flat on the bottom, which is also okay, right? Okay, it's fine right there, right? And the one thing I want to move, let me go back to the 15 because I want you guys to, the steps that we're always looking at are the same, right? The one thing that's important is the volume, right? Never lose fact that the volume controls everything. And this is where the RSI, right, and the volume kind of like, the RSI is how many people are buying and selling, the relative strength index, the sensitive of a trade. But this is why we have our moon indicators right here. We have these indicators right here so that you guys, just because the RSI is on the bottom, don't look there for the decision of whether it's against you, right? Look here. Okay? This is the money. So if you would have seen right here and you took a look here, you would have saw that the money was against you. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you stay
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you,
Yeah, the money's against you. So you would wait for the money to be where it's supposed to be. And as it's moving, the RSI then would go against you. And right here, you can see the money is now coming down and the RSI confirms. There's your entry. See what I'm saying?
yeah.
Okay.
And can you just draw a line there, VC, and then go back to the 30?
Like when the money breaks down right here?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, then just go to the 30, so just see where the 30 is.
The chart?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
30 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, so okay, so the 30 minutes. So what would happen is like we slide to the 30, right? And that'd be our second one. So that's the money side, right? So now when we come here,
Yeah.
right, you're just going through your checklist, right? So now you come here, here's the money breaking down. The first thing is, the most important thing is the 30%, 30 money. See how the money's coming down?
Yeah.
Notice the 30 minute already broke down?
Yeah.
See? So there we go. 2 checklists down. Slide to the 1 hour. Here we go. Slide to the 1 hour. Here's our final checklist. What do we have? Here's our second line, right? What does it have? The money breaking down, you see?
Yeah.
Okay, money breaking down, RSI breaking down. Correct entry. Get it?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
run that out, and if you have the 15-minute red trend with you, just close it out when the 15-minute red trend goes green. YGG, 15 minute. Let me take a look there real quick. Here's my 15-minute bouncing coming up here. And all I'm doing is, as soon as this 15-minute money starts to head back down, I'm going to enter more into this YGG trade. Right? So we're still up. We're still working over 180% on here, right? So we're going to start adding money to this once it gets to where it goes. And we already took profits. Now remember, I started the day with a $1,000 bag. I'm at 1341. So we're already up 300 for the day. All right, so yeah, and it's just making the basic trades. Nothing spectacular here, guys. Right? So you see the difference in your entries there. So write it down to where you have a trigger. We haven't got to your trigger yet, right? But it's also the understanding of like the checklist. You see how that checklist would have helped you?
Yeah.
Yeah, checklist. 15-minute RSI money in my favor. 30-minute RSI money in my favor. 1 hour RSI money in my favor. Right? And maybe sometimes, it's all in how we say it or how we perceive it, right? We always we work from the top down, so we always looking for the 4 hour. Then you go to the 1 hour for review, right? Maybe the easiest way to do it is this. Once you have a trigger, then turn around and decide to start at the 15. So do it like this. Do the checklist like this, and I'll start putting it like this because it makes more. And sometimes it'll click a lot easier when you guys go, okay, checklist, 15-minute money and RSI in my favor. Not in my favor. There's no need to make the trade. You see what I'm saying? Very quick.
Yeah.
15-minute RSI, money in my favor, boom. 30-minute money in my favor, boom. 1 hour in my favor. Now I got to go to my 3-minute red moon, red trend. Boom, 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 right? Simple, simple, simple. Enter your trade. You were right on this trade, bro. Like you're right. That's a 7%. So you were doing a 50x leverage. That's 350% on your bag in 12 hours, 15 hours, right? And we gotta stay focused on the goal. Right, the goal is you want to double your bag, right? So think of it like this: you have $1,000, right? And if you double that $1,000 once a month, right? Let's just go long term on the shit, right? And you're like, all right, at the end of the month, I got 2,000. Now you work on that 2,000, right? And most of the time, you want to double it twice before you do anything else. So you do a month of 1,000, right? Then you do the next month and you take 1,000, you double it again, right? So now you're sitting over there, you're like, all right, I got my 1,000 to 1,000, 2,000, I got 1,000 on the backside, right? I take my 1,000, I do it again, right? So now you're sitting on 3,000. Now you go to $2,000 a bag and they do the third month. Double your 2,000, right? So now you're sitting on 4,000 in security. You do it again, and now you do it again. 2,000, you double it again. So now you're sitting $6,000 in the safety bag, right? And now you take your bag and you say, okay, I'm going to rock out 3,000, right? And this is on the fourth month. So by now, by the fourth month, by taking the longest way possible, right? You are making your 4,000 a month, right? By the sixth month, you're bringing in 6,000 a month, right? And if you do your math by 6 months, right? Just being basic, you know, even if you're taking in 6,000 a month, you divide it by, you know, your 4, you know, you're sitting, that's your 1,500, right? So now you're at about 75 grand a year that you're going to keep moving. But that's the longest path possible, right? So that's where you have to kind of like say, okay, now that's the goal of every trader in the world, is to compound his bag once a month, right? We're focusing on doing that every week. So we can take a 6-month progress and turn it into a 3-month progress to get to the 100,000 mark. So there's no rush here.
Yeah.
It's just simple trades, right? That's how the system works. So that's the one thing in the mentality we have to like pound home, because we got to be focused on your understanding that we're walking this. We got 11. You know, we got a 50-mile hike, right? It's not a sprint, right? But when we get there, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be where we want to be, right? So you're finding these trades. So far, this is great, right? So you see the checklist right there, 15, 30, 1 hour checklist. Would have got you in the right position, and you would have made very good profits on there. And then now you just need a target of profits. And that's where you can use that 15-minute red trend and say, okay, when this 15-minute red trend goes green, then I'm going to get out of this trade. You see what I'm saying? So now you have a target of release, a target of profit. Okay, so far so good, man. I mean, so far this trade looks great, right? So now that we got the 1 hour, all that's in the fact. So now we can look at factors here that make this trade possible, right? So at that current moment, what was possible in this trade, right? So what was the trade that we want to take, right? Well, obviously we see the 1 hour coming down here, and we have a 1 hour red moon. So I don't know if that's the trigger you were going off of. 1 hour red moon triggers. You go look at the trade. You find your let your checklist play into play. Bada boom, bada bing, and there you go. And the only thing that you'd be waiting for in this section here would be the volume to break below the 4 line, which happens over here. So all your safety nets, or even right in this zone here, right? So taking the safeties here, you see the yellow come across, and then finally the money breaks down right there, right? So it puts guys in trades here, right? But all the things that you were finding earlier put you into the red moon, red things. The checklist told you this was a good trade, allowed you to get into this trade at this point here, a little bit above the 1 hour here. So that's where this is a little bit early of a trade. Now, what I want to point out here is, even if you wait for this yellow to hit, let's say one of the safety measures that we put in is the 1 hour volume going negative, right? So here it goes negative, it's moving across, and what I want you guys to start focusing is just really on the volume, on the money, right? So when you look at the money, notice here that the money comes down, it goes flat, then it breaks down again. You see that on the blue? When this blue line, or if it's red for you guys, blue line, when that breaks down, that's an indicator of weakness, right? So we would be taking this trade here. So even if we got in this trade in this point here, this is still a 6% trade. So by taking literally all risk out of this trade, we're still at 6%. Now, if you're doing a 30x, right, 30x on there, it's still 180%. The goal is 30. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Way above what we need, right? So we can be patient here. Leverage is to basically, the way leverage works is leverage is designed. The reason why we use leverage at high levels, it's designed for bad entries, right? And you're like, yo, VC, a bad entry? Yeah, by a bad entry, I mean you didn't catch the top, you didn't catch the second move down, you caught the safest move possible. But because you're using a 30x leverage, that's going to give you 3 times the gains. Which basically means that if you got in a trade when it was 80% done, the 20% that was left is worth 60. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. We don't need any risk. That's why we use leverage. That's the problem. Like, it makes me laugh when people are like, "Oh, leverage is it's a risk." It's like, yeah, because you don't understand it. Leverage isn't made to be the perfect trade. Leverage is made to be the worst, the worst entry, right? The second leg down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's designed to make up the it's designed to make up the money you didn't get by being perfect. Get it? You see what I'm saying? That's like, if you go and you bet on a horse and everyone's betting on the guy that comes in first, and you're like, well, we're gonna give you 100 to 1, and as long as your horse comes in fourth. You see what I'm saying? Like, we can pick the worst horse and still get paid. That's the beauty of the system, guys. That's what the whole point of it is. But it's the mentality of letting that part click so that people understand that it's the opposite of what you think. It's not designed to get you in for you to be perfectly early and then give you, 100x on that first 1%. It's designed to give you 200% on the last 2%. Right? So it's the worst entry is your entry, which is weird, but that's how it works. And that's designed. This is why beginner traders or traders who are just starting can win using the system, because it was designed for those people that can't make a decision, wait for everything to be qualified, wait for everything to be exact, right? Take out all the risk. It doesn't matter, right? If you're trading in the right trading zones, right? You've seen the video for trading zones. If you're trading in the right trading zone, you're still going to get paid on that. So it doesn't really matter about anything else that's happening in there. So that's kind of the beauty of what the trade is, right? So that's the part. So here, the trigger, whatever the trigger is, we don't know what it was. Basically, if you going with your red moon, right, and you have your red trend, right? I like to have moons and trends together, right? A lot of times a moon will go into a trend. And then once that happens, the next moon is the trigger, right? So here, this is called a moon reset. Do you remember, have you been here long enough to understand, hear me ever say a moon reset?
Yeah.
Okay, so a moon reset is basically this, my favorite trade. I like to have confirmation of a momentum or a movement, right? So a confirmation for me is where you can see here that we have, let me update this real quick. A confirmation of a movement, right? So a lot of times I like to see a 30-minute moon, a 30-minute trend, and then the moon to change, and then the moon to go back. You know what I mean? So it's called a moon reset. So here, the higher time frames, the better, especially if you're using 30x leverage, right? So here you go. See the red moon here? So we get confirmation of a red moon, right? Which is, we talk about the 15-minute pullback, right? You see this pullback? Right? Here's the 15-minute pullback. 15-minute moon, 15-minute pullback. I guarantee if you go watch the video on how to do a pullback, this is the trade. Happens all the time, right? So 15-minute red moon hits. We get a pullback, right? That trade right there is a nice little move if you're using higher leverage. That's for scalping, okay? If you're a position trader or a day trader, you're not going to take that position. What you're going to do is mark this trade as a future short. And all you're going to do is let the moon wait for the trend. And when the trend comes in, you let the moon go to the different color. And then when the next moon hits with the trend, right? See red moon, red trend. Moon reversal, right? goes to green, it goes back to red. That's our entry,
Yeah.
right? That's the trade. All right. And now that we kind of like, we'll set these up. We'll have the videos as you guys move through day trading. This will be a video that you guys will see that's coming about moon resets, right? So right here, I don't know what your trigger was, but those are two triggers that I could look at and say, you know, if you weren't looking for those, these are trades that you can look for and then basically take advantage of, right? But either way, you found this trade and you were right where you needed to be. You just missed your entry a little bit there and you didn't track it to the next move down. So, but other than that, you had volume below negative. Everything was running your way. This trade looks good. So let's rotate to the 2 hour, right? So maybe so a lot of times guys are tracking what's called B trades, right? So here, let's see where we're at here. Okay, 2 hours heading down. You have a 2 hour red moon. 2 hours heading down there, so everything's fine there. Let's slide over to the 4 hour. Because a lot of times I know you guys are doing B trades, right? So these are the best trades to do. Very simple. 4 hour starts to head down. You can see here it crosses. Boom. We enter a B trade. We get a 4 hour red moon. We're in the same zone that we were in anyways. 4 hour crosses over here. This gives us a zone to enter, and that's your trade, right? That's a trigger. 4 hour RSI crosses, 4 hour red moon. That's a trigger, right? So now we have the trigger right here. Now we go to our entry position, which is what? Red moon on the 1 hour, 1 hour of negative volume, do the checklist, 15:30, 1 hour, enter properly. So this all pans out here. Now the difference is, as you start to become a position trader and a day trader, you're going to know that once you see this happen here on the 4 hour, you're going to run the 4 hour out and you're going to continue in this trade. Now you can take those day profits and then re-enter the trade. This is what I'm doing on YGG. Taking the first dump, letting it pull up, and then I'm going to take the other dump, right? So notice here on the 4 hour, red moon, RSI bottomed, bounces, then it goes for the next run. So if I go to my YGG, let me slide to my 4 hour, all right? What do we have? Here's your 4 hour, comes down, 4 hour bounces, comes back down. You see what I'm saying? I'm in the second part of the trade that was, I'm in the second part of this trade right now. Now all I'm doing is I'm playing the 15 minutes. As soon as this money starts to bend like it is right now is where I would go back to my YGG, right? There we go, YG, 108. So, I mean, I'll take $361 today.
You're already having your breakfast.
Yeah, I mean, I can afford some. I can get some oatmeal now, guys. I can afford some oatmeal. You know what I'm saying? Give me some oatmeal.
You would be able to push out the boat and get a coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I did get 81, so I get coffee there. Got a buck. I got 61. I can use that 97 cents. I can get me a coffee. So, I mean, that's kind of where, nice. This is nice, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, once you have your triggers in here, there's multiple. But once you guys start understanding the position trade and the day trade happens 3 or 4 times in a position trade, right? But once you understand that you're in a position trade, then you can run that trade out, right? You can run that trade for a while. You can move it out the entire time because what you're waiting for is for things to start like falling into place, right? So during this trade here, you catch a 4 hour red moon, you know that you're moving down here and you're like, oh, this is actually going to run out for me. And then you get your little take profits and then your 4 hour bounces and you realize it's starting to happen again. And boom, you get into this next position trade, which is another nice little, 3-4% move here, right? And that's kind of how that runs. Now, what I want to show you is, I'll take a look at the daily, right? So on the daily, what is the daily trade, right? The daily trade is what? A 4 hour red moon, daily red trend, right? Inside this daily red trend, and I'm just going to mark this daily red trend here. So inside this daily red trend, which is still here, I'm going to turn this yellow, or pink actually. So inside this trend zone here, right, which is still happening, right? You see how down here.
Yeah.
So this is the very first position trade, right? So let's go into Discord and position trade. And we can see here that it's a very simple trade, right? daily trade starts with the daily red moon. 4-hour RSI, 2-hour RSI. Do your checklist, right? You can add the 3-minute. You can add the 3-minute RSI to the checklist, right? So once again, the very first thing is the correct money. See how I'm focusing here on the money? The money breakdowns. See, this is the correct one. This is the fake out, right? Shows like it's going to do what it's going to do, but then it pushes on you, right? So those are something you want to study. So basics here, we need a 4-hour daily trend, right? So daily starts with the daily red moon. Then we need the 4-hour and the 2-hour cross. So let's go back to ocean, right? So ocean here, here's your daily red moon, right? Happened on the same trade you were in, right? The only thing you needed to do at that moment, right? You see that? The only thing you needed to do at this moment here was lock in the 4-hour and the 2-hour RSI in your direction. All right. So once that daily hit, you notice the 2 hours coming down for you right there. See? That's in. The 4-hour. Look at that 4-hour. That's in. This is the trade in the position trade, right? Now, inside the position trade, right? Everything confirmed. Everything's there. I always talk about closing this. The close on this is going to be more in the side of a 2-hour green moon, right? So let's slide to our 2 hours, right? So you can see here, you got this position trade all the way down. You don't get out until here. See? That would have been your position trade up in here. This would have bring you somewhere around a solid 5%. No worries. And then if you track that trade and you continue on, you get the 2-hour red moon again, right? You have a little movement here. Watch your RSIs. Comes back up. You're out on the green moon, right? And then boom, it's happening where it's just finishing up its red moon move. So here it goes again, right? Red moon triggers. You're in here somewhere, and now you're working this section part here. Now this is where a lot of times what we're looking for, and that's another 3%. But we'll break down this. I'll take a look at ocean, and we'll break down this ocean movement for you. But this is a full move here, right? A lot of times I like to take profits on the green moons, let things reset, and then I'll take advantage of this move here again, like in this zone here, because I have my 2-hour at the top. I'm taking that pitch, and a lot of times as it moves across, if it doesn't break, because see how the volume's so low, right? A lot of times I won't concern myself with this 2-hour green moon once my volume is at a point. The very first trade, right? I think this is what, like, we have to kind of focus on what trade you're in. The first trade, I'm taking the green moon because it was the first move, the first leg, right? So when that happens, I have to take profits. Now, the second time that I get in this trade right here, once the volume pushes up, can't break free, it comes down. Now, this is the money. This is where I want you guys to start paying attention to, right? It's the money that matters, not anything else. So when this red moon comes, right, and tells me that I have an entry, right, I wouldn't enter that until it actually makes a move to the downside, right? Where when I see it across here, right, I know that it's moving, right? See how the money breaks down right there, right? That's the first time that you can look for an entry point right there when that 2-hour money breaks down. You can look at an entry point in here, right? That's the move that I want to make. So not because the red moon comes in and I see it, and it's normally going to lag, right? So I'm going to let the RSI play itself out, and I want that 2-hour money to move up, and then when that makes its second move down, I would take an entry somewhere in here, right? And then I would just hold it. When this moon hits, I don't care about that 2-hour green moon at that time, because remember, I already have a stop loss and I'm in a trade. I haven't hit profits and I haven't hit stop loss. So there's no need for me to close on that green moon because it hasn't done anything. Right? At that point, I'm going to take it's either going to stop me out, right? I'll take my 20% loss there, right? And call it a day, and then probably re-enter when the red moon comes again. But I'm not getting out of that trade unless I'm stopped out, because I haven't made money, and it's just, you know what I mean? And the volume's too low. Right? So a lot of times guys are getting in and out of trades, and it's like, guys, you have to let the stop loss run. You're going to have moons pop up that are meaningless, This one happened to be in a position where, you know, depending on where we got into our entry point on our move down, which would be somewhere in here. Let's take a look at here. And these are 2 hours. So if I get stopped out there, you know, I'm okay with that with the green moon section, because that's kind of where I was set up. So here my money comes down. I'm entering somewhere on this candle. If I get stopped out here, that's great. Perfect. Now I'm waiting again. And what I'm waiting for is the red moons to come in, right? Red moon comes in again. RSI is breaking down. Here's my next entry on this candle here. And then I'm in this trade here, right? But I'm stalking that trade because it hasn't finished the daily. You see what I'm saying? That daily position trade. It hasn't finished yet. The daily position trade, remember what I said on the daily, it's over when the 4 hour moon hits, right? So right here, here's our moon. The 4 hour ended here. Now the 4 hour red moon hit again. See that? I'm trading the daily. Yeah. So when you're inside the daily trend, right? This is still the daily trend, right? This entire section is the daily trend. When you're inside the daily trend, you can trade the 4 hour moons. You're in. We already took profits here. It went green. It turned red. We're in this trade here. And then we're in this trade now until we get that next move down, which is going to be another 2 hour green moon. And we're not going to close out until we get a 4 hour moon and then look for a reversal. Okay? So that's kind of how that works. And I'll make a video for you. But other than that, I think you're like right on point. I think you were in the trade, worked out in everything that you were supposed to do. You just didn't like come back on it. And your first thing was just the checklist, right? You just missed the checklist a little bit there. The checklist would have worked out for you a lot nicer, and you'd have got yourself in a good position there. But that was a 6% trade. So you're right on the cusp. Just focus on the entries a little bit more.
So I need to, what I think I need to do the crossing of the 4 hours, then
yeah, so yeah, focus on the day trade, right? So go to the folder, go look at the day trade folder, and look at that trade, right? So I like to trade, the trades that I like, right, are going to be 4 hour moons and trends. You see what I'm saying? So let's take a look, like just kind of like an overall, right? I love 4 hour trends and moons, right? So that's kind of like my thing. That just gives me a bigger section to get in, right? So anytime that's happening, those are going to pay off a lot more when you have 4 hour moons and 4 hour trends, right? So that's what the day trading is. It's focusing more on 4 hour moons, 4 hour trends, right? You can see right here, look, 4 hour moon, 4 hour trends, right? That's why we're looking at 10 trades. Don't take one trade and be like, that didn't work out for me. If you did these 10 trades on Ocean, right? So what we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's take these 10 basic trades here. We'll start here. And all we're going to do is the day trade, right? So what's the basic formula for a day trade, right? So beginning basic formula for a day trade is a 4 hour RSI breaking down. You can see that here, right? So somewhere in here we have a 4 hour coming down, which means what? We have a B trade happening, right? So somewhere here the 4 hour comes down. You're going to have a 1 hour possibility. So you're going to enter this trade somewhere here, right? So in this entire Ocean trade here somewhere, even if you got in late, there's a 4% move there. You see that? So if you missed all of this and you got in here or here, you made 3%. See that? So if you were the worst trader in the, right? And you you know what I mean? So let's go through the simpleness. Let's go through the basic shit, right? 4 hour red moon. Boom. There's my trigger. Now all I need is my RSI. It's on the floor. It's not against me. So what do I need? I need a 2 hour, 1 hour, 15 minute, 30 minute in my favor, somewhere in here. Let's say that you wait and you say, all right, I'm going to wait for the moon, but my next thing is going to be the red trend. So here comes the red trend, right? Red trend hits here. Boom. You get an alert. You see this massive drop happen, right? So as always, remember on the candles, you don't enter right when the candle happens. You enter before the next candle. So on a 4 hour, just like a 3 minute, you would not enter until the one third is left, right? So on a 4 hour, you would be waiting for at least the last hour, right? So 1 hour before the next candle, you would start entering in this position. And so you'd be somewhere in those zones. You'd probably be up here somewhere, but you'd be entering in those zones in here, right? So you're looking for those movements. So based on our 1 hours, our 2 hours, right? We'd be somewhere in this trade, and let's say you get in on this trade here, right? So even if you wait for all the basics to come in, the 4 hour moon, 4 hour trend, you find your entry somewhere around here, right? This trade goes for about 2%. So no matter what, we made 60% on that trade, right? So now let's move down to the next one. Now you're coming along, same thing, red moon, red trend, right? So you get your red trend, you go through your checklist, you find somewhere in here. Let's say that you see the bounce come in, you see it bounce here on the 4 hour bounces, and then you wait, you get on this one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what you do, or you wait again and you get on this one. It doesn't really matter. So there's 3 opportunities here that you could have made money. They're all worth about 4%. So we'll say on a 30x, we'll take another 30, 60, we'll take another 60%, right? So you should have got 2% somewhere in here, right? So there's 2 trades, right? Here's another trade, 4 hour moon, 4 hour trend. Once again, another opportunity for a short move, right? Another 2, see what I'm saying? All these trades pay off with 60%, right? So as you're going along, even the worst one that we have right here still did 2%. Like, you know, say worst case scenario, you made 30%, right? So if you're doing these 10 trades, right, you're going to catch some of these that are just unbelievable, right? So that's what I'm saying. That's why we do the 10 trade review. Don't take one trade and be like, right? Finish your 10 trades. At the end of these 10 trades, you would have averaged, here's one that went for 300%, right? At the end of these 10 trades, whether it took you 2 weeks or whatever, right, you would have been 300 to 500% profit. The goal is to double your bag once a month. You see what I'm saying? So start with the basics. Start with that 4 hour moon, right? And then if you want to be super cautious, right? Now once you have the 4 hour moon, what do you need? You need the 1 hour negative volume, RSIs, the 1 hour, the 2, the 4, the 2, the 1, you know, all in your favor. Taking those trades, start running the 30x trade, right? And then run this all the way through. And these would be the safest trades to do. Red moon, 4 hour red trend, right? Make the trades inside of those 2 pockets, right? Those are zones. 4 hour red moon, red trend, here's a zone, right? So anytime you see a 4 hour moon, you look for a 4 hour red trend. I like the 4 hour moon because I work it into the red trend, right? So I'm playing the odds that I'm going to catch this move here. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing. So every time I get a moon, I'm expecting a trend, right? As long as everything's in my favor, right? So that's kind of like it. So if you want to kind of like do the simplest day trading, 4 hour moon, 4 hour trend. Then go through your checklist. And if you do that every single time, even over here on this long pullback, 4 hour moon, 4 hour trend, you still would have caught a 2-3% move here. And then down here, look at it pays you off for being consistent. 4 hour moon comes back. There you go. And this last trade here would have gave you another, 4%, right? So that's kind of like the safest trade to do in a day trade. 4 hour moon, 4 hour trend, right? So what you want to do exactly what you did here is catch the 4 hour moon leading into the trend by using your basics, your 4, your 2, your 1, and all that, and then grabbing the momentum, right? So I think by starting on the outside, having that, kind of like the simple trade you can do, then you start working your way into your entries, right? Because where you're at, you're right on the entries. So you're more advanced than a new guy. But a new guy would use the 4 hour moon and trend to be safe, right? Where you've been through the academy trades, the scalping trades. So you see where there's pullbacks, entries, bounces, and all that stuff. So now you can take that knowledge and just kind of like blend it with the 4 hour moon to get yourself the better entries. But either way, you're going to make money on that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so take the week, man. So let's do the next 10 trades and kind of like use your catalyst. So what's your right now? What do you like? What are you trading like? So what's your trigger? What do you look for? Are you looking for the 1 hour red moon, negative volume? Like what's your trade that you like?
Yes. Look at the 1 hour crossing.
So you're looking for the RSI.
And the 15. The
Okay,
RSI,
so remember.
15 to 30 number order.
Okay, so you're looking at the pullback. So you like when a coin is pumping So the pullback is this, right? When the 1 hour crosses, remember that's a C trade, right? Those are the most difficult trades, right? So normally C trades have bounces.
That's the note.
Yeah. C trades have bounces, right? So you don't want a trade that could bounce on you. You want at least a B trade. So what I want you to do here is remember when you're doing a pullback trade, it's different than a B trade, right? A pullback is when a coin is pumping, the 1 hour crosses, you get a 15-minute red moon, and then you take advantage of what we call the retrace or the bounce, right? Or the pullback, right? So that's what that is. That's the pullback or the retrace, right? That's just where it makes its first leg, pulls back, and goes on the second leg. 1 hour crosses down, 15-minute red moon. You have to have negative volume happening on the 3-minute red moon red trend, right? Safest trade, right? Now, what I want you to do is look at that as a more of an alert of a trade that you want. The trade that you want, like go for, is get more confirmation where once you got that happening, look for the 2 hour RSI to confirm a solid pullback, right? This will give you more of a draw pullback, which could, turn into, negative volume on the 1 hour, which ends up being an A trade, right? So for me, start looking at those pullback trades and look for the 2 hour to be involved, right? The 2 hour is not involved, then put an alert on the 2 hour and say, okay, I'm going to see you in a couple hours. So when that happens, then you start looking for your trade, which would be that the 1 hour red moon with the 1 hour and the 2 hour RSIs headed down, right? That's the first pullback on that section. And then look for once you start tracking that, look for the 1 hour moon reset, right? Which is the 1 hour red moon goes into a red trend, get a green moon, and then that next red moon, right? So I'll do a video for you there. So start stepping away from C trades and start stepping more into B trades, right? So a B trade is simply waiting for the 4 hour to start to head down, right? So once you have the 4 hour RSI heading down, then all you need is the 2 and the 1 to confirm with it. And then those are the trades you want to look for. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, to see them enough, a lot more easier.
Yeah. The pullback trade.
The C trades are bad.
Yeah. The C trades, you never know what's going to happen. Those are high leverage trades. So what I want you to do here is I want you to go down to 30x leverage, and then on the pullback trades, add the 2 hour RSI to give you a better pullback trade, right? And then look for the next trade after that, which is our normal 4 hour RSI cross and the 1 hour moon reset, right? So the red moon, red trend, green moon, back to red moon, right? So start doing those trades with a 30x leverage so that you can run them a little bit longer. So I'm going to do, when I get back, I'll do a video for you. And I'm going to do some examples on Ocean and YGG. And I'll get you to where we break down basically what you're looking for on there. And then that'll be the gist of what you're looking at. So it's a little bit, same thing that you're doing. I just want to add a little more safer entries to it. So that way your 30x leverage, gains more for you and allows you to get, better entries and everything like that. Yeah. So right now what you're doing there, go ahead.
Yeah, even though I did the 10 trades, and I know I moved my stop losses and stuff, I still earned 310 on the trades.
Yeah, you did. So did you do, so at the end of the 10 trades, what'd you end up with percentages?
300 more.
I mean, that's terrible.
No losses.
Terrible. No, that's what I mean. Like, I mean, it's funny, right? Because at the end of it, there's all these, you're making great trades. You're like right there. So I like what you're doing. And what are you using? 50x leverage?
50x, yeah.
Yeah. So you're right where you're at. So what I want you to do is, we'll go back and I'm gonna take a look at your 10 trades, and see, like, let's get rid of, if we take Ocean out of there, right, and we get Ocean on the right trade,
Yeah.
that was a 200% gain, right? So I mean, you're right where you need to be. Just focus on the checklist a little better. Look at the money, right? So
Yeah.
stay on your path right there, but just tighten up the money, right? So wait for the money line to basically help you see where it's headed. You see what I'm saying? But that's not bad. I mean, 10 trades, 300%. You know, was that for the week, or how many days was that?
It was probably about 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. So like, that's what I mean. So you know, we tighten that up because we want to be in the 600% side, which I think as we start to move forward, there's nothing wrong with 300%. You know, in a month you're making 600% on average. Nothing wrong with that, right? Now we just got to basically on the next 10 make sure we're staying consistent right there, and then from there we can start scaling up. So once we get consistent on that. Other than that, bro, good job, man. How you feel, bro? How's that feel?
Yeah, it feels good. Just, I think, you know, when you enter the trade and it's going against you, you know, you just fucked it.
Oh, when you enter a trade, it kind of goes against you?
Yeah, because like then you're fighting the trade, and it's just down to common sense and patience.
Yeah. Well, that's
wait.
the steps.
Look, you're the time frames.
Yeah, don't get rid of the emotions and get it more into like you looking at your indicator. You know what I mean? And then find the steps that make sense to you, right? Find that thing. Like always like, okay, is the 15-minute money with me? Right? There's a thing. Is the 30-minute money with me? Is the 1 hour RSI money with me, right? That's pretty much it. I mean, I'm not, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like when you do when you're learning, it's weird because we're looking for an average about 1,200% a month, right? So right now you're right there. There's nothing wrong with 300%. Now we just gotta tighten up the entries a little bit, and then from there start looking at the exits, right, to make sure that we're getting the most out of a trade once we're in it. And if we're leaving a trade too early and not watching it for the next move down, you know what I mean? Like once you find a weak trade, you just hunt it down until it's done giving. You know what I mean? But yeah, other than that, man, I mean, I'm gonna say that's pretty good, 300%. That's kind of where we want to be on our first 10. Our first 10 review, we want to be at about 300%. That's where we want to be. Now we want to get that next time. We want to start hitting more of a 400, 500% and get it up to 6. Once we hit 6 and we stay consistent on 6, then that's easier to tighten up all the little things we're doing, because we'll be more of the trades that we eliminate the trades where we didn't get as much as we wanted, and be longer in the trades where we had what we wanted and got more out of it.
Right. Yeah. No, I do. Let's do the crosses on the 4 hour.
Yeah. I mean, there you go, bro. Good
Thanks.
shit.
Yeah, appreciate that, BC.
All right, guys. I'm gonna head out right now. I got some things to do, and then we'll be back in. We'll touch base this afternoon. Let me get some videos, the rest of the videos up for you guys, and then we will focus on adding a little bit here, little things that you guys can put on the sideline tips, and get some more videos up for you guys to where it just makes it easier for you to, you know, stay focused on your winning, guys.